And now, one from the official DC superhero joke book. How can you recognize Starfire?
Um, gosh, I don't know.
By the twinkle in her eye. I don't get that one.
Yeah, that was not as good as they usually are. So, but that's okay. They all can't be winners.
There wasn't a lot of Starfire ones inside the show, or inside the book. I mean.
Okay, fair enough.
So
fair enough.
You have to go with what you have to work with, right?
That's true. Yeah, you're right.
It is. Welcome to the greatest DC comic show on YouTube. You found Fanboys Live the Retro Review. Thank you so much for being here. Let's say hello to Signature King. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It was a beautiful weekend. Absolutely, weather was perfect this weekend. Absolutely exquisite. So,
awesome.
Unfortunately, all my projects were inside, so it did make a difference. So that's unfortunate. What can you do?
Comic Food 2014 on an excused absence this week. Tim the Comic Collector in big trouble.
Report to the principal's office.
Mm-hmm. If you're watching on the Rewind, thank you for stopping by to visit with us today. We're excited about that too. And speaking of excited, our first guest joining us in the live chat says they are excited for some Starfire goodness. Hello to John's Comics with Kids. Hope you're doing well and had a good weekend. Then we'll say hello to Poor Mike. He's going to catch the replay. That's cool. We hope you enjoy the show. Muobunga to Ruben Guzman. And where are you, Sig Pig?
I am in central Pennsylvania, almost smack in the middle.
You're in CPA.
4 miles from the state capitol building, so I'm not far from work, unfortunately.
Yeah, I heard it was a little on the warm side in California.
It feels like I live in a Starfire.
What he's saying there, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. So, you said there's some news going on.
Lots.
Tell me.
Lots. DC movie news.
Okay, tell me.
Josh Brolin, in talks, I guess, is the front runner for DC's Green Lanterns role for Hal Jordan. Your initial thoughts, Mr. Lasso?
I don't have any.
None? Okay.
No.
I know you're not that you're not a fan of the Green Lanterns, but it's a sector of. I mean, you like the Green Lanterns, but you're not.
I buy Green Lantern comic books and back issues.
Well, we have a resident in-house expert.
That's true. We do. Who's not here tonight?
I would love to get his opinion on. Yeah. But how familiar are with Josh Brolin? He was big Thanos, but other than that, are you familiar with a lot of his other roles?
He is Barbra Streisand's stepson.
Is he really?
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that.
Wait, Barbra Streisand is married to James Brolin, right?
No.
Okay, then. Well, they're in a relationship then.
Oh, let me look that up, actually. But what about his other movies? Have you seen them?
No.
No?
No.
I think his best one that he's known for is probably No Country for Old Men.
Okay. Why can't old men have country music?
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
He's currently married to Catherine Boyd Brolin. So.
No, you're talking Josh Brolin, right?
Yeah.
I'm talking his dad.
Oh, his dad. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
James Brolin and Barbra Streisand.
Brolin. Oh, yeah, you're right. It does say that. Oh,
they're married, right?
I guess I never knew that was his dad.
They're married,
currently
right?
married.
Yeah,
They've been married.
So he is Barbra Streisand's stepson.
Yes.
Yeah.
Him and Barbara were married in '98. I did not know that.
Yeah.
I guess I never knew who he was. I see him in all kinds of stuff, but.
Well, look at what John has just pointed out, just superhero-wise, what he's done.
Yeah. Honestly, like his Jonah Hex it was too early.
It was.
Because I think he'd be a perfect Jonah Hex now.
Mm-hmm.
when superhero movies are like the in thing. Back then, it was too early. You know what I mean? It was too early.
You know what I say about him being Jonah Hex now?
Huh.
I say Hex, yeah.
Hex, yes. So, I mean, honestly, I don't know how I feel about Josh Brolin playing Hal Jordan. I'm not sure. Like, very talented individual. Of course he is. Very talented. But, like, I can't see this fitting. You know what I mean? I can't. Well, I know they wanted Hal Jordan in the DC Universe to already be... he's already established. He's been the Green Lantern for a while. I can't see this. I think he'd make a perfect voice of a Kilowog.
Yeah, the Poozers.
More than... Yeah.
Let's say hello to our friend Cliff on Comics.
Cliff.
Who's joined us.
How you doing, buddy?
Enjoy Canada.
I just can't see Josh Brolin playing Hal. But then again, they said the same thing about Heath Ledger playing the Joker, and it was the greatest role ever cast. Now, I don't think this will hold up. Maybe it will, but I don't know. I don't know. I can't wrap my head around it. Time will tell.
Mm-hmm.
Time will tell. Now I'm curious to see who they cast as Jon Stewart.
They should cast Jon Stewart as Jon Stewart.
That would be funny. That would be funny. And Stephen Colbert as Hal Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more interested to see who's playing Jon Stewart and Kyle Rayner. Yeah. I mean, Hal's probably my favorite Green Lantern. I like Hal Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
But I like Jon Stewart.
What you got against Alan Scott?
I don't know.
Okay.
I guess Brule and Izio. Yeah. They he might have already been Parallax. I don't know. At this point, I mean, I don't know where in the timeline we're going on, but yeah, that's probably like the biggest news. Honestly, if there's a big push to cast him as the voice of Darkseid, which I don't think would have been a good idea. A role that's probably too close to Thanos. But I would love to see him.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just want to say hello to Kenneth Bird.
Kenneth.
Yeah.
What's up, my guy? If I could cast Brolin in any role, I would have him physically and use his voice to play Swamp Thing. But like actually put him in there. I think he'd make a great Swamp Thing.
Who would you cast as the voice of Skeets?
Me.
You?
Only because I know that's a role you want. I tell you what, you can be Skeets and I'll be Cheeks. That's a buddy cop movie. Everyone wants to see.
Okay.
Cheeks and Skeets.
I was looking for the eject you from studio button when you said that.
That would be funny. Or maybe Hawkman. Maybe DC use Hawk. I think you might make a decent Hawkman. But yeah, I would say Hawkman or Kilowog are probably my two favorites, and Swamp Thing. So 3 favorites for me. But yeah, that's kind of the bigger one. The rest is all kind of like updates on movies that are potentially coming out. Darren Aronofsky is reportedly writing and directing the Plastic Man movie.
Ooh.
So that's kind of neat. Plastic Man movie. And apparently it's being given a priority for whatever reason. So this movie could come out as early as 2028.
I saw that Plastic Man and Wonder Woman are teaming up in an upcoming comic book issue.
Nice. Although they're saying it's given priority and it's 4 years from now. So I don't know how that's a priority. But
they could have that universe so screwed up within 4 years.
Yeah, this could all be completely scrapped by now. What are your thoughts? Plastic Man movie.
Why not?
I can't see it. There's another one I can't see. Not that I don't think it'll work, but I feel like it's a character that isn't really well known.
I don't know, but here he's more well known. Well, wait, let me say this. This is what I think, and feel free if you guys don't agree with this. I think Elongated Man has been in more comic books, but Plastic Man is more recognized than Elongated Man.
Well, I guess Ralph Dibny did have his stint on The Flash.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that helped get his name out there. Maybe that's why he was on The Flash, because they wanted to push a movie for him.
Plastic Man had his own cartoon.
He did.
Mm-hmm.
That actor is actually coming to Comic-Con locally to me. So
nice.
I forget his name, so that's cool, I guess. It'd be cool if he's wearing like the outfit.
I wouldn't count on that. That looks like a wrestler's outfit.
It does. It really does.
Yeah.
So that's kind of neat. A Sergeant Rock movie not only is in the works, but it has found a director. Luca Guadagnaro. I don't know how to say his name. But, Luca Duca. So I didn't know there was a Sergeant Rock movie coming. I didn't know that. That's pretty cool. Although I'm still kind of bummed we never got the Steven Spielberg Blackhawks movie.
Yeah.
That would have been awesome. Yeah, DC is really pushing the lesser known directors for its movies. There's a couple of directors that I really haven't heard of. And even movies I've even heard less of. So interesting. Very interesting.
Let's say hello to Carlito Classico. Come to join us tonight. Hi, how are you doing? Hope you had a great weekend.
Yeah. So those are the big three for news. Just casting and 2 directors being attached to projects. Still mum on any Amazon project.
Okay.
So that's kind of sad. Kind of sad. I think those are the big ticket items, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
A big Amazon movie, I think, would do. Doesn't necessarily have to be a big movie. Can be a HBO Max series.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see something with Justice League Dark, like a Justice League Dark. I would love to see it live action show.
I want to say hello to our lurking Seeking Superman. Thanks for lurking.
Yeah, I would Justice League Dark in like a Doom Patrol kind of setting. You know what I mean? They got running a couple seasons. I think that'd be great. I really do. Bring back Matt Ryan as John Constantine. That'd be fun. That would be a lot of fun. It'll never happen. So.
Oh, who knows? You know, he thought he was done playing Constantine before, and he wasn't. So.
Well, I think even DC really wanted him to continue because they wanted to. It's hard to explain, and I don't know how TV works, but I feel like Matt Ryan has a lot of fans. Even people who didn't know who Constantine was, were tuning into the show just because of how well he was portraying this character in that show. And even I was hooked. I even know who John Constantine was, obviously. But and even I was hooked just how well he was portrayed. Like, dude, that was the most live action perfect casting choice for John Constantine I've ever seen. No offense to Mr. Keanu Reeves, but like, boy, now when I read a John Constantine voice in my head, it's Matt Ryan.
Yeah, that's when you know that they did a good job when you hear their voice.
Yeah,
especially like there's other comic books. Like anytime I read Darkseid, I still hear the voice of the '80s superpowers Darkseid in my voice. That voice in my head when I read Darkseid. So,
and it's interesting because they keep bringing back Matt Ryan for Constantine for stuff outside of his universe. Mm-hmm. Now he's doing a lot of animated stuff for DC, and he's still John Constantine. Yeah, it just goes to show that I think DC is really paying attention to the fans, like a big fan cast like Matt Ryan. Like they're really listening. I wish they would do more of it because honestly, if that was the case, Gal Gadot would still be Wonder Woman. But
yeah,
that's movies. I think is something completely different. But whatever. That's my soapbox for the day.
Did you realize that yesterday was a big Shazam anniversary?
I did.
You want to tell people what it was? While I say hello to the Sniper who's popped in?
Wasn't that when I think I have it on the wall here. No. Okay, maybe I don't know. Wasn't it the big TV show that came out?
Yep.
Like it was the first airing of the TV show?
It was the first episode. Yesterday was 50 years ago, the first episode of the Shazam live action show
it's way
aired.
over here. Yeah. Way over here. I thought it was on the wall. But yeah, this guy.
Yeah.
Love
it. Jackson Bostwick was the first of 2 actors to play Shazam in that TV show.
When I met him, I asked him about it, how he was replaced. And he said that, I mean, I don't know if this is true. I got to go by what he said, but he said, because he lives out here by me and obviously Hollywood on the other side of the country. Before the age of cell phones, they told him be back at Hollywood on this day and this time. Well, he was late and he was going from here to there. So he's in the middle. They're trying to contact him at his home and they couldn't get an answer. So they assumed he wasn't coming back. So they had to hurry up and recast him because production was starting he ended up being like 3 or 4 days late. And they had to move on without him. But
so you know what they did to the kids that were watching the show?
Traumatized them.
Well, besides that, they had, I believe, in the start of season, because I think he was replaced at the beginning of season 2. So season 2 starts with Jackson Bostwick, the original Shazam episode airing. The next week it was his replacement, John Davey, as Shazam. The third week was another Jackson Bostwick Shazam episode, and then the 4th week on was John Davey.
Oh, so they kind of eased into it.
Yeah, but you know how that messes kids up when they're watching that? Last week it was someone different, and then the next week it's back to the original, and then I did meet Jackson Bostwick myself, but it was years ago.
And he's up there in age. I mean, when I saw him 2 years ago for this, I mean, he's using a walker to get around. I mean, he just looked. Okay. Mobility was definitely an issue for him, and he's still doing the con circuit. And I don't.
Well, that's great that you got a chance to meet him then.
I did.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm going to meet him again this year. I'm going to get probably 2 or 3 more of these signed.
Oh, nice.
And I've got plans for those. Some for going to a museum, but yeah. So I was talking to him, and he was telling me about John Davies and the guy who played Billy. I can't remember his name.
Michael Gray. Michael Gray.
Mm-hmm. So Jackson and John don't care for each other at all.
Sure.
Big. I mean, I completely understand.
Mm-hmm.
And every time, if you notice, when cons started to get popular, it was always Michael Gray and John Davies doing a convention, or was Michael Gray and Jackson Bostwick doing a convention together, but it was never the three of them.
Yeah. I don't actually remember John Davey doing many cons, but I could be off on that. So
is he even still around?
Yeah, he is. I tell you, I never met him, but I do have a signed and personalized picture from him. But that didn't come from a con.
He is British, so and that's why how he currently lives in the United Kingdom.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a while since I got this picture. Last I knew, he was involved in real estate in California.
Oh, maybe it's a different John Davies. It's very possible. I just typed in John Davies.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, might help if I could spell. Yeah. He's currently 85 years old, so makes sense.
Yeah.
That he's not doing the convention. And Jackson Bostwick is almost 81.
How old's Michael Gray?
Michael Gray, I know he's not quite that old.
He's got to be, what, 65?
Place your bets now.
I'll say 67. I'm just guessing.
67? Wow. Michael Gray. Shazam. He's 73.
73, okay. He was actually, before being Billy Batson, he was on an episode of The Brady Bunch.
He was on... someone was showing me that he was on another show, too, and other than The Brady Bunch, I can't really remember what it was. And he was... I was listening to this... Someone was interviewing Michael Gray about his role as Billy Batson and how he got it. He did The Brady Bunch, and he was on another show on NBC, and I can't remember what it was. And he was originally supposed to go and just help read lines, and they liked him, so they kept him. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
He didn't really audition for it. I guess technically he did, but he wasn't supposed to. Oh, whatever.
Sure.
However you want to look at it. But yeah, it's kind of neat.
Yeah.
50 years ago today, so.
Yesterday.
I like it. Yesterday. 50 years ago yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and Michael Gray's from Chicago. Did not know that.
Cool.
Very cool.
Yeah. Any other news to talk about before we segue into our retro review?
That's really it. I feel like they're kind of holding the big news close to the vest for maybe New York Comic Con.
Sure.
I think that's kind of one of the bigger ones that's left, isn't it? After New York Comic Con, it's really
that's
slow
kind of the bigger
that.
one, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
New York and San Diego. But yeah, who knows? Maybe we'll get something cool out of it.
Yeah. Well, as we segue over into the retro review, if you want to pull up the assist, Tony.
Sure.
I selected it tonight, and I almost went with Raven from the new Teen Titans. And then I started looking around, and there aren't as many... oh, you definitely will in a matter of seconds. And there isn't as many solo Raven stories as there seems to be Starfire. Although sometime in the future, I would like to feature Raven because I think that would be awesome. But I decided let's just focus on not so much a group story, but stories that focus more just on Starfire tonight. Our favorite Tamaranian princess. Zal! It's Starfire night. Zal! Right, Tony? Zal.
Zal.
So we're going to start out with a 4-issue mini that was done called Tales of the New Teen Titans. And this was essentially, I believe, the first time we ever got Starfire's origin. So this is Wolfman and Perez. New Teen Titans is a massive hit at this point, and they introduced 3 new characters, and they wanted to do a 4-issue mini to do their origin stories, essentially. And then they also featured Changeling, aka Beast Boy, as the 4th. So as we get started, we get this great full-page George Perez splash of Starfire up in the sun, and they're talking about how obvious it is that she just loves the sun. So the Titans have been essentially out on holiday, on vacation, and they've each been kind of sharing around the campfire and stuff, stories from their past, but some of them are excited to get back to New York City, and some of them not so much. And Starfire talks about, as she lands, how the sun, how wonderful it is. In the meantime, we have Changeling, he's kind of got the eyes for her, and Cyborg reminds him that she only has eyes for Dick. And Starfire says, the sun gives her her strength, her power, and it reminds her of home. And Raven says the planet she called Tamaran. She says, yes, beautiful, glorious Tamaran. Sometimes I wonder if it's still there. And then she starts to remember that Tamaran is the 8th planet from their sun on a star that we call Vega. Tamaran is a tropical paradise. She says the air seemed scented with perfume, the sky shimmery with a golden glow. Man and nature stood together. And the only order on Tamaran was love. It was a planet ruled by passions and emotions, where science served only to heighten their beings, not feed the greed. And everyone is, in some sense, is very equal. The palaces are there. We're not there for protection. But there was a little bit of a problem that they had, which we'll get into a second. But first, we go back to with Starfire being born, and the Tamaran King is being notified that his wife is in labor. Starfire is born. He presents her to everyone. You can go back up.
Yeah.
He presents her to everyone, that she's born. And everyone is quite pleased about it, except that girl in that top little corner right there, her sister, her older sister, Commander. And Starfire goes on to say that from the moment she was born, Commander despised me. She had been sickly at birth, judged unfit to eventually rule. So Starfire was given the right, to be princess, which she so wanted to be. And she knew that she wouldn't get to rule. And that instantly caused some friction between the two of them. And she goes on to say, my sister is evil. Her soul is black as death itself. Even when we were children, the differences between us were very apparent. So there's little Kory enjoying this little pet that she has, and she loves this pet, and the pet loves her back. And one day she goes back to see that the animal is dead. And Commander denies killing the animal, but surely she did. So Commander can't fly. The rest of the family can, and she sits there in jealousy, watching her older sister, and all of that just turns to hate. They ask her if her parents unfavored her and loved, Koriand'r more, and she says, not at first. They loved us both equally, but then it became impossible to love that traitress. And Wally starts asking about the last time that those two were under the same roof. And she says, well, she was my older sister and I wanted her to like me, but Commander only avoided me. And she says, I told you before that Tamaran believed in peace, but we also knew the tragedy of war. The Citadel was the planet closest to theirs, and for more than 100 years, they had sent their warships against them. They needed food to sustain and our people to be their slaves. So they would get these periodic attacks from the Citadel. And she's recalling one of those at this moment as the ships come flying in. But Tamaran is able to defend itself. They have the weapons and they have the knowledge of how to use those weapons to defend themselves. And, when they come attacking, they're able to declare victory against the Citadel. And after a while, the divide between Commander and Koriand'r definitely continues. And it's very obvious to everyone what's going on. Well, essentially the day comes where the parents say, hey, even though that you are the daughters of the king and queen, you must learn how to fight too. And you learn that from the warlords of Okara. And Commander's very excited. She's like, I've been awaiting this day. I'm anxious for this chance, Mother. I'm very anxious. She sees this as a chance to prove herself. So they take off in a ship, and Commander is very disturbed at the other people that are in the ship. And she's like, they think this is a party. Don't they know that we're going here to learn how to kill? And Starfire is like, she didn't even realize these are the best of each species from different planets that are going there. And Commander doesn't care. So they arrive at Okara, and it has all these different tunnels and caverns that reflect light in different possible ways. And as they get in there, they are greeted by the people that are going to train them. And essentially they're having, this welcoming, this beginning process to their training. And they say, you are going to be taught the art of warfare, but the art of humanities as well. And the two will be forever entwined. And Commander's like, just teach us to kill, because that's all that matters. And it's like, hey, to kill is nothing. Anyone can kill. It takes no skill to twist a dagger through the flesh. To achieve peace is the greatest goal that can be reached. But when one must fight to achieve that peace, one must fight to win. So they start there, as you see on that page, teaching both of them. It's the story of Koriand'r and Commander on how to learn how to fight and how to defend themselves and what to do when there's no escape in battle. And, they're really honing their crafts and becoming warriors. In the present day, very briefly, Wonder Girl, Donna Troy, explains, well, that says why you did so well in Paradise Island, and she's like, well, these tournaments were a manner of graduation exercise, and I excelled in the fundamentals. And then in the final training graduation ceremony, Commander and Koriand'r were facing off against each other with these solar lances. A near swipe would dislodge your opponent from the mountain. Whoever fell would lose. So they waited. Starfire waited for the signal to begin, but her sister didn't. She just charged ahead before the signal even came, trying to get herself a little bit of an advantage. And their first pass is kind of evenly met, but on their second go-around, she uses her sword and slices through her mount's leg, thus causing the animal to fall down and for Koriand'r to fall off of the animal. And she figures that's going to be a bigger advantage for her. And Koriand'r says, I should kill you for what you did. And her sister's like, you should, shouldn't you? And she's like, well, little sister, you haven't half the strength to do that. And she ropes her and lassos her and starts dragging her along. And a very painful experience. And at the last moment, as the pain becomes very terrible, she reaches for her sword and she draws it, and she's able to cut herself free from the ropes. And her sister turns around right at the edge of the cliff. And Koriand'r warns her to stay away from her. And she says, I despise you. And she throws her shield, which slams into the beast that her sister is riding. They're like knocking, she's hoping it would knock them to the ground, but instead they both fall off the side of the cliff. So Commander can't fly. Koriand'r jumps in there, flies down, grabs her and saves her, asks her if she's all right. And she's like, and Koriandr's like, Commander is like, how dare you humiliate me? I wanted you dead, and yet you saved me. You're a weak sister, and you're a fool. Didn't you learn anything? You will never let an enemy survive, never. And she draws her sword, and she's about to cut her with it when it's interfered by the people who have taught them their training that, you wallow in your own hate and that you're a disgrace. And they tell her they want her to leave, and she says, oh, I'll leave, warlords, and I'll go where I will be appreciated, but I'll be back to see you all burn in hell. So she left, and everyone assumes that she was going back to Tamaran, but she didn't go home. And the Titans are a little bit surprised about this. So now, with Starfire back on her home planet of Tamaran, they're under attack again. Another Citadel attack. But this time, it's much different. And, the Citadel seem to know things that they didn't know before because it's Commander. And Commander has taught them the secrets of Tamaran's fighting skills and where to attack. And the Citadel is able to attack. And they're able to really defeat Tamaran. So a truce was done, and it was a sacrifice. At first, her father refused it, but then realized he had no other choice. 100 years of warfare had taken its toll. He had to succumb, or Tamaran would be completely obliterated. And they want Koriand'r. So they say, take one last look because you're never going to see your family again. And she's taken by the Gordians, which were the Citadel's slavers. And they said, we had heard of how terrible they were, but they were even worse than what we knew. When she gets aboard their ship, she realizes it's her sister, that wanted her because she wants to torture her. That's the plans that she has for her. And that's what she does. You look at that page right there that you're showing of all this horrible torture she went through. Essentially, they were slaves. They were sold in a year time period. Then that someone else would have the chance to buy them as their slaves again. And they had to do whatever their master said. And Commander got her every year and just tortured her. So 6 years is going by with her constantly being tortured. And Koriand'r finally has enough, and she killed her master. So she's caught. They bring her in front of, her sister, who now essentially is Blackfire. And she says, hey, you killed your master. That can't be permitted. You have to die, of course. And so let's toast to your afterlife. You die, and then Tamaran itself will follow. And she's like, you scum. And she's like, but I'm alive, and that's what matters. Well, right at that moment, they end up getting attacked by the Scions, which are the Citadel's dreaded enemies. And there's a big, you see the spaceship firing at their ship, taking them by surprise. And they enter the ship, they breach the ship, they're able to get through. They start using extreme cold to freeze these people and really torture them as they're dying with their blood vessels bloating and exploding and their hearts rupturing, literally. And these people are even worse than the master slaves that she's been dealing with. So as they go through, another thing they like to do is use them for scientific purposes. So science is much bigger and much more important to them than for experimentations purposes, for them to learn stuff, than the human life. And they realize they have Tamaranians, and they're like, oh, this is just wonderful. So they grab a hold of both Starfire and Blackfire, and when the two of them regain consciousness, they find out that they wish to learn the extent of their abilities. So what they're going to do is, they know that they can consume energy, but they want to see how much they're capable of converting. And they're going to start increasing the dosage of energy that they're receiving. And it's obviously very painful. And remember, Starfire is like most Tamaranians, but her sister isn't, and plus her sister can't fly or anything too. So her molecular structure is just a little bit different inside. And as they start increasing their testing on their 2 Tamaranian subjects, the Citadel attack squad approaches in retaliation battle, and they start fighting within the ship. Well, Starfire is able to bust through, but she notices at that point that her hands are just glowing with power, and she doesn't know what's happened to her. She sees her sister was still being held captive. And she's like, I should leave her to die for everything that she's did to me, but I just can't. Even if she was my enemy, even if we had been taught to kill my foes, Commander was still my sister. So whatever happened would happen, and she frees her. And what does Blackfire do? She turns right around and blasts her and tells her how stupid she was for saving her. And she's like, I have the same power you have, but even more intensified, because she stayed under that light. She was exposed to that energy longer than Starfire was. And she says, Koriand'r, how many times must I remind you to slay your enemy and not to pity them? And Starfire, in the present day, as she's continuing her story, says, she took advantage of my misplaced compassion, and she taught me the folly of compassion. During the confusion, she brought me to a Citadel ship where she was reassigned to the Citadel homeworld. Her viciousness in battle awarded her a higher rank, which left us separated. Starfire was placed in an energy dampener, which nullified her excess power, and was taken aboard a star slave ship bound for a prison planet. And the guard who's imprisoned her, says, oh, it's too bad that you're going there because we could have some fun. And she's like, oh, well, no one needs to know. We can have us a little fun right now. Maybe we can stir that spaghetti sauce, maybe we could stir it Tamaranian style. And he's interested, so that was a huge mistake, because you'll see that Starfire fires right through his body and kills him. And out of my way, slaver. I don't need interference now when I'm so close to escaping. And she snuck aboard a star slider and took off to parts unknown. And it took her 3 months to reach Earth. And she says even those 3 months were filled with troubles. But through it all, I only wanted my sister before me so that I could destroy her. And the Titans reassure that, hey, relax, you're among friends now, and we've got you. And she says, I know, but sometimes it is hard to forget. So Wally West Kid Flash comes in since they're just getting ready to leave. And he says, hey, let's celebrate with some champagne, because it's our last day here. He got Raven some Perrier, and he got a Coca-Cola for Garfield there. And Robin says, we spend so much time together, but we're usually going after the bad guys, always fighting. Well, we've had time to be with each other as real people, and I really like all of you so much as friends. And they toast to friends and to friendship, long may it last. And that beautiful little pin-up there wraps up the issue.
Very, very cool.
Yeah, stir in the spaghetti sauce.
Yeah. Especially with the lizard guy.
Yep. Exactly.
That's weird. Let me get mine up here.
So your story came from a series called Teen Titans Spotlight, where sometimes it was one issue, sometimes it was multiple issues of one story, just spotlighting more one character from the Teen Titans or the Teen Titans family or extended family. And yours has a special guest that ties into Crisis on Infinite Earths. Before we get there, we'll say hello to Aaron. Hi, Aaron. How are you? Thanks for stopping by to see us tonight. It's appreciated.
Yeah. Guest starring Harbinger. Hey, look at this. Ron Randell did the artwork on this one. Huh.
Nice.
I'm meeting him at Baltimore this year again, so it's kind of neat.
Oh, nice.
How appropriate.
Yeah.
So this one is a little long. I'm going to do the best we can here. So, this one's interesting. When I was reading it, I had to read it a couple times, just because I didn't quite understand the Harbinger's kind of like abilities, but I think I got it now. So, and I thought maybe Starfire was like taking like selfies or something, but no, those would be Post-it notes or some kind of media there. But she here we go with Starfire, and she's taking a day off, like a Ferris Bueller's kind of day off thing, and she gets flowers in the mail. I guess delivered. I'm sorry, and she's head over heels at this point with Dick Grayson. So it's very cool. So she's zipping over the city here, and just kind of enjoying the time. And she runs over. We cut to a hero named Harbinger, and she is, I guess, wanting to join. I forget the name of them already. I forget. It's like a Justice League. I can't remember what are the names? I think were they the Guardians? I already forgot. But anyway, she's trying to join an organization, but as it turns out, she wasn't quite fit. And here we have a quick a Harbinger backstory. But I'm going to skip a little bit here. But yeah, Harbinger has a very unique ability. She can, I guess, separate into separate beings, and that I thought was pretty unique. So she's gone up against the Manhunters, and so anyway, she's zipping across the city too to do her thing. Starfire kind of sees her, and she kind of gives chase, which is kind of neat. Turns out she's fighting the Manhunters again. She's not doing so well, but Starfire is able to intervene while Harbinger is a little bit weakened at this point because she's kind of split, if that makes sense. Is this your first encounter with Harbinger?
No, I knew her from the Crisis.
The Crisis event? Okay.
Yeah, because this is after Crisis had wrapped up. She was
this
essentially the Monitors. She's the one who gathered all the heroes on behalf of the Monitor. And
right.
As he was watching and recording to decide what heroes he would need and all the different Earths and stuff, she was the one accompanying him.
Very cool, very cool.
And it was the New Guardians. That's the team you were mentioning.
New Guardians, that's what it was.
The New Guardians.
Yeah. I knew it had something to do with Guardians, but
then
I was thinking the Lantern Guardians. I was like, that's probably not right. But anyway, yeah. So they're doing this huge battle with the Manhunters here, and Harbinger at this point is weakened. She can't really fight to her full potential because when she gets split into her people, she's relatively weak. But Starfire is ready to engage. And once in like mid battle, they kind of have this conversation about how they are going to beat the Lantern. I'm trying to think of how I'm going to say this. So they are discussing how to beat the Manhunter, not the Lanterns, the Manhunters. And this is Starfire's kind of interaction here, saying, I know exactly how to beat them. I don't know them, but I've known them my whole life, so to speak, in terms of who they are. And as they're thinking maybe they're off the hook, they're attacked again by the Manhunters. And every time I see the Manhunters, I think back to the Green Lantern animated show where the Manhunters are always running around. They always say the same thing: "No man escapes the Manhunters," which is pretty funny. And they're able to finally defeat the Manhunters, and Harbinger goes back to join her new Guardian group, kind of explaining what happened, and they're able to defeat the Guardian, which made her grow and kind of harness her powers a little bit better than the what she had been, and they kind of accept her for that, and Starfire is able to zip back into the city here, and she goes back into her apartment, and there's even more flowers, and there's more pictures of Dick Grayson. Like, they really pushed the Dick Grayson narrative on here. It's really funny here. But I do have to say here, in this letter to the editors, they have some notes here, which I thought were pretty funny. Not often do you see kind of notes here, and I like it. I like this issue. That's a little too much, but yeah, that's kind of the abridged version of it. I encourage you all to check it out and read it, and as well as some of these letters to the editor. I don't know about you. When you were growing up, did you actually read these kind of letters to the editor?
Always.
Or did you always? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I noticed in buying back issues, I really don't read them anymore.
Okay. Yeah. 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 This is a lot of fun. I always get giddy when we pick these books with. I usually get stuck in the letters to the editor. I don't know why. I'll read the story like once, and I'll spend like an hour just reading letters to the editor. I wish this is something that DC would do now. I think it'd be really fun.
Yeah,
they should bring that back. But yeah, that's Starfire, Tales from Teen Titans number 19.
Yeah. So thoughts about these two issues that we read in tonight, focusing on Starfire.
I don't know. Not that they weren't good stories. I mean, the art was great, the writing was great, but I mean, it's just a character of Starfire that it gets reminded of Superman when I read Starfire stuff. Just because they have that correlation between the sun and their abilities, and their planet. It was in peril, and
they're aliens.
They're aliens, so they got a lot in common. Granted, those powers are different, but. Yeah, just get reminded of Superman. I like Starfire, don't get me wrong, but had these issues, well, maybe not Tales of Teen Titans because I need them all, but I don't think I would have picked up your run, so to speak. Just because I'm not a big Starfire fan, I would definitely pick up Raven for sure. But yeah, overall, out of 10, 6 out of 10 on these.
I was surprised at how much more Harbinger there was in your story than Starfire.
A lot more Harbinger.
The scale seemed to tip a little bit more for Harbinger. But I had never read your issue before, and I'd been wanting to read it, so it was good for me. My issue I thought was really good. Essentially that was our first origin ever that was given to Starfire, and I liked it. It was a good reread for me too. Yours was all right. Yours was still decent. So I'm going to go a little bit higher. I'm going to go 8 out of 10.
Okay.
Is kind of where I'm going to give the combined total for the both of them. I liked the one that I did a little bit better than the one that you did. So
I agree. Yours had the stronger backstory.
Yeah.
This is more like a Harbinger story featuring Starfire than it was.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. It should have been the other way around.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
but it's a good. I mean, I like the Teen Titans. They're not my favorite group, but I still enjoy their stories.
Mm-hmm. You like anyone that hangs out at the Electric Band-Aid?
I'm partial to Electric Band-Aid. Yes.
Yeah, which is probably where Copy is since he's not here tonight.
That's what I was thinking. I get surprised when he's not there.
They don't get good Wi-Fi over at the Electric Band-Aid,
which is sad.
Yeah. So. We're going to go into our book show, but it looks like we should have a little bit of time. If you in the chat want to do some questions and answers with us, we'll have a little bit of time for that tonight before we wrap up. And as we head into the book show portion, I'll start out by telling you, if you have something that you want to share with us as a book show, maybe Starfire or Teen Titans related, that would be awesome. Share a cover with us on Instagram or share what you have with us on Instagram. Use the hashtag Fanboys Live the Retro Review so we can make sure that we see that too. I had a whole mess of problems today trying to... Instagram wouldn't let me post my Starfire book that I wanted to post today.
Interesting.
Yeah, it just wouldn't let me. I tried many times. I tried rebooting. I tried logging out, logging back in. It just wasn't having any of it. So, But you want to tell us about what's going on in your channel and do a book show there, Signature King?
Yeah, I just did a live stream with Southern Comic Book Geek. It was a lot of fun.
I was there.
We talked about Baltimore. You were there. Talking about our goals for the con and if we're checking out any books or signatures. So it was a lot of fun. A little bit longer than I'm used to, so I was pretty tired afterwards. I can go in for like 2 hours, so that's not normal for me.
Yeah.
That's more one of the longer streams I've been a part of. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Up next, I got some shorts. Finally, it looks like I'm out of YouTube jail, so I'm happy.
Good.
My shorts are getting views again. It's been over 30 days with like minimal views, but yeah,
that's frustrating.
Coming up September 20th, which is a Friday, I will be on Anoronics Comic College of Knowledge, and I'm representing the U.S. Cavalry Association for my charity, and I picked Shazam as my topic. So
cool,
which is fun. As for a book show, I have this really awesome Starfire Hollow. Might be a little difficult to see, but I really like this drawing of her. I think it's done really well.
What book is that from?
This is Tales of the Teen Titans #1, the current
volume,
current run. Yeah.
Yep.
And this is issue 1, and this is issue 2.
Oh, nice.
Where it's got all the Titans on there. So lots of foily goodness.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's fun.
So for me on my channel, I did my back issue of the week short. It was a Marvel Comics focused one this past week. And then I had my comic book editions video, a lot of Bronze Age stuff, typical stuff that you expect to see on my, in my hauls if you've watched my channel before. So that's what's already on my channel. Coming up tomorrow will be another back issue of the week YouTube short, 60 seconds. And we're heading to Bedrock for the back issue of the week tomorrow. But it might not necessarily be who you think is in Bedrock when you first think of Bedrock. I'll just throw that out there.
Is it a blast from the past?
It is a blast from the past, but it might not be the blast from the past.
Okay, all right.
So,
I like it.
That will come out tomorrow. I'll have a JLA haul. As you know, that I'm really working on my Justice League of America Volume 1. And I'll have an update on how that collection is going in Tuesday afternoon's Comic Book Editions video. Then on Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, John's Comics with Kids and I will be doing another JLA versus Avengers. And we'll be doing issue 5 from both series. So if anyone wants to join us for that live stream, that's awesome. If you want to jump on one of the apps or online somewhere and read both comic books, that would be cool too. And we'll try to figure out, with your help in the chat, who had the better issue number 5. And if I'm remembering correctly, JLA has had 2 wins and Avengers have had 2 wins. So this is going to be a tiebreaker in this upcoming week's episode. So I'm looking forward to that. As for my book show tonight, I have a lot of great Starfire covers in my collection. But you did Teen Titans Spotlight, Volume 1, issue number 19. Well, the very first issue of Teen Titans Spotlight, issue 1, was on Starfire.
Oh, very neat.
And it was actually a 2-part story. So there's the cover to issue number 1. And then here's the cover for issue number 2.
Wow.
So I thought I'd just share these two as a book show tonight.
No, those are good covers. Who did the art on the issue 1?
Let's check here.
Looks like a George
Perez.
Yeah.
Yep.
Of course.
So
Mr. Perez, the legend himself.
Yep. Co-creator of Starfire.
Who is the other one?
The other one's not Perez.
Oh. Interesting. Very neat.
Looks like Cowan. Is that Roger Cowan?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I think so.
With Dick Giordano on inks.
Okay, very cool. How did you get a chance to go to your LCS this week?
I did not, but I certainly have enough books waiting there for me to pick up.
It's just a stack.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's super
yeah.
funny.
And I'll also say, for anyone that's watching too, if you're not subscribed to my channel or Signature King's channel, or we have other fanboys that just aren't with us in tonight's episode, there's links for everyone's channel in the description to this video, and subscribing to the channel is a great way to show support, and we certainly do appreciate it.
Yes, very much so. I just hit 850 today.
You did? Awesome.
850. I'm halfway to 900. And I know I was in YouTube jail because out of nowhere, without publishing a video or getting a subscriber, it projected me to hit 900 subs in August of next year, and it jumped all the way to February of next year. Or that's down, I guess, not jump up. And it, like with nothing changes. And then all of a sudden I started getting views again. So I think I was in trouble somewhere.
Yep.
I think I was.
Do you like the tower, Tony?
I forget the name of the tower. Big T.
I remember the name of the tower.
I forget.
It's Joanne.
Joanne, that's right. Joanne the Tower.
Joanne the Tower. Hey, if there's a Danny the Street, there can be a Joanne the Tower.
They should do a crossover episode.
Yep.
Danny the Street
meets Joanne the Tower.
Joanne the Tower. Oh my gosh. That would be
so
cool.
We have a good 3.5 minutes or so if anyone in the chat wants to ask any questions before we wrap up, because we'll be wrapping it up in a matter of just minutes. So if not, Tony and I will find something to vamp about for a few minutes.
Yeah, so should I get this signed?
By who?
Tom King.
Yeah.
You think I should?
Yep.
All right, maybe I will.
Twist your arm.
Okay, yeah, I guess I should. I was thinking maybe gold right across here, like on the bottom or something. I don't know. I haven't decided yet, but I think gold is probably going to be the best choice. This was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to set this one aside. I think I'm going to get it signed. So that's one dilemma that I have is I have all this stuff that want to get signed, but I don't know if I will. Man,
is that Nubia?
This is not Nubia.
Oh, sorry, I couldn't tell what it was from a distance.
Batgirl, but not the Joshua Middleton one.
Yep.
I'm definitely going to bring the Joshua Middleton one to get signed. One I wish I could get signed is Zatanna.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That would be fun. Oh, man. That would be a lot of fun. If I recall correctly, Tony is up to date about it. How are you feeling about it? There's more issues leading up to it. All in is coming up pretty quick. I'm one issue behind. I have it. I just haven't read it yet. But I'm pretty excited for it. Lasso, did you pre-order that foil?
Nope.
Any particular reason you didn't?
Budget.
Fabulous reason.
That's an honest reason too.
That is a great reason. It was only thanks to Lasso, I was able to even I didn't even know about it. That was going to be a foil version. But
I'm good at spending your money.
You're great at spending my money. So I pre-ordered it. So I think that's one that doesn't come out until October, so it's going to miss the convention. But I'm going to hold on to that one because I'm pretty sure there's going to be a laundry list of people on that run that I'm going to get signed. So
yeah, you could even put vintage people on there because it's the DC Bullet logo, so that qualifies for so many people. You know.
Yeah, but also no. I'm just going to do anybody that ever worked on a DC book. That would. I only want people credited in the
issue. Okay.
In the issue, it's backwards. My Wonder Woman logo is backwards. But yeah, that's the kind of person I am. I only want people credited on the issue. I mean, even smaller. Like if it's like, like this issue right here. I know it's a Jim Lee and it's a Marvel book, but if it says Bob, Sally, and Joe, I'm just going to get those three. Even though Mark might have done the colors. Sorry, Mark. I'm not going to do it. But that's okay. Everybody, yeah. Man.
We've got a minute left before we're going to wrap up. Any thoughts on what you're going to pick next week for our retro review? Because it's going to be your choice.
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to share it now, or are we going to wait and just be a surprise?
It's Justice League. But it's not the Justice League you think.
Okay.
And it relates to the current movies being filmed.
Okay.
So where's your
hint? That's what will be coming up next week for a retro review. We look forward to having you back with us for that. And if you joined us in the live chat for this week's show, we hope you enjoyed it. We always appreciate getting to interact with you. If you watched on the rewind all the way to the end, that's pretty awesome too. Hey, one thing I'll say quickly about the Wonder Woman logo upside down over in Brazil, that's what it is, because she's Mujer Maravilla there. So it's the upside down logo.
So this is the logo?
Yep, that's what it is.
Really?
Thanks for watching Fanboys Live and the Retro Review. We'll catch you next week. Have a great, happy, healthy, and successful week. Take